Do you work? Because prep does. And if you are out here living your life, dating, traveling, and having fun, your protection should be working just as hard as you are.
I've built my entire career on protecting people and their futures. You don't want to wait until something goes wrong. You gotta plan ahead.
And that's why QCare Plus makes so much sense. They connect you with real providers, they offer labs at home or in person, and they make getting care simple and respectful.
No confusion, no stress. That's a smart protection.
They meet you where you are and make healthcare feel easy instead of overwhelming.
And that peace of mind is everything when you're busy living your life.
Protect your future and protect your best asset, you, with QCare Plus.
Woohoo! You know, fresh out of court 2 days ago. Like Karen still has the stench of jail, even though I love her. I still have the stench of court.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I can smell the attorney fees, you know?
That is a good one.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to an all-new episode of My Friend, My Soulmate, My Podcast. As always, it's your host, Christian Gray Snow, and y'all already know when the OG is away, I'm still gonna play. So I am hanging out with my girl, Taria, from the What Else Is Going On podcast, and y'all, listen, we've experienced each other's energy a couple of times, but it's every time is like the first time again. Like, as soon as she popped up on camera, I was like, let me just start dancing, you know?
He was dancing. I'm saying, yes. roll your body.
Yeah, I love it. It is so good to see you, my love. How are you?
It's so good to see you. You are looking good as always. That gorgeous face, that gorgeous smile.
Thank you so much. And you know, we're talking about how we're excited and happy to see each other. But ladies and gentlemen, we are here to discuss a topic that probably doesn't bring too much happiness to those that it involves, and that is, you know, it's our girl Wendy up in Potomac and her man's Eddie. You know, unless you've been living under a rock, baby, I think that they are entering what might be, I think, one of maybe the biggest legal thing Bravo's ever seen, probably behind Jen Shah.
I was gonna ask you that, but actually, you think, I was gonna ask you if you think it's the biggest, or even if it's crazy, because Jen Shah's might have been the biggest, but it's still, after the first few, like after everybody was like, the shock of it calmed down, I think Wendy and Eddie's is still bigger, probably because it's not just they were charged, they were tried, they're gone. This is like a lot, Christian.
And I think there's still a lot that's going to come out too. Remember the credit card part, like it didn't even come out in the beginning that they had all these credit cards and stuff. Little things like that. There's going to be information that drops here and there where it's just like, holy shit. And like, I hate to say it too, but it's just, I think another reason why this one is so, I guess, impactful on the Bravo, you know, fandom is Wendy's the last person we ever expected to be the one doing this. Like Jen Shah, we were like, of course.
Of course, she, like, hello. Yeah, she scammed her way on the show. Like, yeah, of course. Yeah, you know. But Wendy, it lets you know when the first thing we all were saying was they have 8 degrees between them. They're smart. They're this. But that lets you know money, finances, debt can touch anyone and cause you to do things. If they did, I started thinking, Christian, think about it. In order to do something of this magnitude and so sloppily, if they did it, they had to be at a desperate point. Had to be.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. Like, I think that at some point, I said that before too, that there had to have just been something that they lost their way, you know, or they lost their just train of, I guess, consciousness or what they thought was possible. I don't know, but I don't know. But that's why, you know, we have you here today, is because like, we might not have all the answers, baby, but we got the vibes. And when I say the vibes, because you, my love, have been in the courtroom for, how many appearances have they had in
3
court versus how many you've been in?
They've had 3, and I've been in all 3.
Listen, she's going to be there more than the attorney is at this point. I know that's right. But so that's why, you know, I asked you yesterday to come on because you posted from outside the courthouse and everyone was like, this is hard-hitting journalism. And it is. Like, I have a journalism minor. This is what my parents paid for, is what you were doing. Instead, I'm out here making fucking memes. You know what I'm saying? Like, my parents were like, Christian, you need to put the C in CNN. And I'm like, nah, I put the mess in memes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But it's good to see somebody using their journalism degree.
Well, I could tell my mom, you know, because I started out, I went to Penn State University. I never finished, but I was going for broadcast journalism. So, you know, a little, and then I ended up going backwards, went to a community college, and it was in liberal arts. So I'm kind of sort of doing something a little bit, kind of sort of.
Yeah.
I keep letting the not having the degree make me feel like I'm not really a journalist. And then I said, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to make sure I follow the code of ethics. Let me tell you something. Real journalists can sometimes get contempt of court. Christian, I almost got contempt, but the judge was nice. So let me tell you.
What's that mean? What's contempt of court?
Meaning locked up. I might have been with Eddie and Wendy. So let me tell you what happened.
Y'all about to be cellmates. Lord.
And it wasn't my fault. Coming off the heels of when I was in Karen's hearing and in a totally different county, we were allowed to have our phones. So I was tweeting away, providing updates. Granted, there were no pictures taken. Fast forward, get to Carroll County, and somebody took a picture in the courtroom, not thinking somebody probably may have, and it circulated. It was I'm sure you've seen it. It was the back of their heads in the courtroom. Again, somebody took it. Didn't think anything of it. But then there was a part of me that did think something of it, and it was eating at me. I was like, I don't think I was supposed to do. Whoever did it said they don't think they were supposed to do that, right? Fast forward to the next hearing. I will say the initial judge they had for 2 hearings, I've always maintained I think he's very fair. He seemed very fair for the prosecution, very fair for the defense, and he was very fair to me and whoever else may have been responsible for that picture. He did about a 10-minute warning about pictures in the courtroom, and he was like, someone in this very courtroom from our very own hearing last time took a picture, and there were cameras pointed directly at it, and I don't think they're in the courtroom today, and I'm not going to even check to see if they are, but I just want to issue a stern warning because I'd rather give a warning than them have to deal with consequences of like contempt. And at first, you know when you start getting like internally embarrassed and you're like sweating, and then I was like, it's all in the name of journalism. Hi, Portia. So that was good. Yeah. But let me tell you.
This was my first job in the entertainment industry, baby. Yes,
See?
yes.
Look at the callback.
Speaking of not using my journalism degree appropriately.
But you were at Dish Nation. So this time, that time, next thing you know, we see a bailiff behind our bench and a bailiff on either side standing up. We were like, that's weird. We go back last time. Bailiffs stationed behind us again. 3. This time, after it was over, I went out and did a video. Shout out to Paging Dr. Pam and Chantel Purple Panda Pants. They were there as well. And after it was over, Pam said, we're going to go talk to that bailiff. We're going to make friends because we're going to be here. We talked to him, start loosening him up. I say, look, I just want to apologize. I didn't know the camera rules. I just came out of a hearing with her castmate that went to jail. It was different in Montgomery County. When I tell you he totally loosened up, he was laughing, joking, and he said, we got word that our only job when Wendy and Eddie were having court was to catch us, not watch us, to catch us. So they were, in fact, stationed there for us.
That's terrifying.
So I said, well, now that we friends, we're following the letter of the law, okay?
Exactly. So, and if I don't follow the letter of the law, don't forget we're friends, so help me out.
You know who else is watching the social medias and in people's stories? Her attorneys.
Really?
Her attorney. And there was a woman sitting in front of us who wrote on a notepad. I think Wendy and Eddie were very strategic this time. We were in a different courtroom. Normally they sit a couple rows up. This time they sat in the very last seat. And I thought they went in before us, and I thought that was odd. So we had nowhere to go but either directly in front of them or across from them. So we went across from them. Sure enough, a woman writes down, she keeps looking back, and she wrote down on a piece of paper, Wendy's attorneys are continuing to watch you, because they were trying to see if we did anything as well. Yeah.
She wrote you a note?
She wrote on a piece of paper, a lady that was there because she's a Housewives fan. She saw that it was Wendy. She came, and she's like, shout out to Donna. And she's like, her attorneys are watching you. She wrote it on Dr. Pam's notepad. Yeah. So we knew, we were like, okay, but what I think is interesting though is, I'm going to keep it real. The vibes that I got, Karen's trial was big. Whether people don't like Karen or love Karen, people are interested in Karen, right? People wanted to see what was going on. People were showing up. Christian, at Karen's court, there were people that worked in the building there, even though it was her sentencing, a little different. But with Wendy, there was crickets. ABC News barely was there the last time. But I think Wendy is showing up looking for those outlets. She's showing up runway ready. From the Louboutins to the one time she had the fur over the shoulder. She is showing up ready. I'm telling you. Full face. I know that she got it done that morning. And I'm not saying you have to go in looking a certain way. But with the charges, for instance, last time the prosecution made a comment and said, these bags are $8,000. Her bag was $8,000. My most expensive bag was $300, which goes to their point. The prosecution has a lot, but they are also playing it in the court of public opinion.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
So, gosh, Wendy.
And that's what I said. This time that they came to court was the first time they spoke in court. And we need to go back just for people that don't remember. Remember when the news broke, we found out they were going to be tried together. They were going to be co-defendants. Wendy then files paperwork saying it was an illegal arrest, which nothing ever came of that. And also that her and Eddie be separated. And we were all like, oh, what does that mean? What does that mean? Mind you, their attorneys in Maryland are expensive and they're paying for 2 people.
Shit. So when they do separate trials, then it's like double the expenses. I didn't even think about that. Wow.
And these lawyers are pretty good from what I hear. I see them like I've seen posters, I think billboards of them or whatever. I think it was them. So there's so many posters of lawyers. But anyway, so they want to be tried separately. The judge says they filed a motion that he's going to rule on that. That was back in December, I believe, maybe. January. Fast forward, he was supposed to address that in February. In February, I get up that morning. They're supposed to go to court. I check the website. Court is still on. But then I notice that automatic discovery has been presented. The prosecution gave some discovery to the defense. Later on that day, the case gets postponed. So they never address it. So then we get to Wednesday. And we're talking like, okay, they're probably going to address whether or not they're going to be tried together. It's probably just a formality because it seemed like that's the direction the judge was going in. This is a different judge. They didn't even address it. And so when they call them both up and say how they're going to be tried separately, all of our mouths dropped open because the last we heard, there was paperwork filed saying that they were going to be tried together. They didn't address whether it was denied or anything. What really shocked me was Wendy wanting her trial to happen so fast. Originally,
what's that mean?
Originally, her date was April 15th. Eddie's was April 20th. Eddie waived his right to a fair and speedy trial because there's prosecution used the word extensive discovery that he wants to deep dive through. Those were their words. Here's the interesting part. I told you last month they were supposed to go to court one day. The day before, discovery is given from the prosecution to the defense. It gets postponed. Wednesday, the day before, Tuesday, more discovery was given to the defense. So I thought that Wednesday's trial was going to be postponed, but it wasn't. They've had 2 or 3, I forget the exact number, 2 or 3, because these are called status conferences or status hearings that were postponed. Wendy was willing, and I don't know if this means anything, so if any legal experts are watching, let me know. But Wendy was willing to have her trial in March. They were looking for dates as early as next week for Wendy.
So like her whole thing could have been done next week?
But there were no dates available because there were no dates where both the judge and somebody else was available. So now she doesn't even have the April date. Now the next hearing they have is May 20th, and that's still just a status hearing. Wow. So that's what kind of made me go, wait a minute. Her attorney is looking for dates as close as March. You're talking next week. If it was available, they would have tried. They tossed out next Monday, Tuesday, and then I think
does that mean that they're that confident that they can win if they go in now?
That's what I'm wondering. Or then somebody said it would make the prosecution scramble because they would have to have all of their evidence. Yeah. So that's a scenario. And then I was thinking, and I tweeted that I was wondering if they were setting up for Eddie to take the fall. And I know that, like, if you and I committed a crime, I know one of us couldn't go in and say, I'm taking the fall for everything. But I wonder if one of us could plead to lesser charges and the other.
There's definitely strategy involved there for sure.
And so I want to ask the lawyer. I was thinking about emailing them and see if they'd give me a quote and ask them what's the strategy behind that, because it seems so rushed. And now that, because it was when they said, Wendy Osefo, you waive your rights to a fair and speedy trial, we were like, what is happening? And so now, though, she can't even go in April. Her trial was going to be April 15th. Now she has to go all the way till May for a status hearing.
So that means that they have all this time to do more research, which could have been the original goal was to give them a time frame that would not have been adequate enough to come and convict her, or give enough material to convict her.
Yes, they when they used the word extensive discovery, and I saw that they were given, because I went through the case just to see what paperwork was filed. I went through I saw they had discovery last month and then again this month. When I was sitting in the courtroom the last time when the prosecution was breaking down things and the defense, you would hear the defense talk and you would say, yes, this may be like, yes. And then you hear the prosecution and you hear them literally laying details out, Christian. I mean, you see the rumors, and I do think the prosecutors are being salacious. So when they put out the article about the aliases and the 67 credit cards, I think they purposely did that so people's minds automatically went to, oh, they have aliases for their credit cards. At the reunion, Wendy said that was cleared up, and it was. Her lawyer turned to me. It was me, ABC News, Pam, and Chantel. We were the media that was there. He said, so her attorney said, the prosecution is throwing out these salacious claims, basically like in front of the media to get headlines out. So I do think they're playing this out in front of the public. Also, to the defense's credit, I don't know if you know about Carroll County in Maryland. There is not many people that look like me. My cousin and his wife used to live there years ago, and it's not Dr. Pam, who goes with me there, she said she never felt unsafe, but she would never want to run out of gas on them either.
Lord Jesus, okay.
So
yeah.
The defense says they are being denied. Well, and this is another thing. We haven't heard them argue this. He just mentioned it in January. He said that they are being denied their constitutional rights because they're not going to be able to find a jury of their peers in Carroll County because it's not Baltimore. It's not Baltimore County. It's not Baltimore City. Then he says it's not urban. I said, now, wait a minute, sir. Come on. But that's a good.
You was almost there with it. You know
I was there. Now, sir, back it up a little bit. But that is a good point. If we're due, it's our right to have a jury of our peers. If there's no one that looks like you, how does that work? And they didn't file to have the case moved. Not that I saw. So now what does that look like? What does jury selection look like? I'm interested, and I will be reporting back, and I'm definitely keep you in the loop of what this jury selection looks like. They're estimating it's only going to take 4 days for Eddie, 4 days for Wendy, and they estimate that the defense is only going to need 1 day. Christian, this prosecutor, the way she comes in, kind of almost like, and the way she delivers is kind of like unbothered. Like the energy she has is very unbothered. And I'm going to tell you something. I got a message from Monique Samuels. You think you're the binder, bitch? I looked at Eddie's attorney's binder. They got a binder like this. I mean, I said, it is so big. And one of his attorneys was carrying around that binder.
Gosh.
At the end of the day, we have to remember, because I keep forgetting, it's not the judge that decides. It's going to be the jury that they have to convince. But when you hear the evidence, think about it. We keep talking about Eddie sending an email, right? But what we're not talking about is him calling the insurance company for the ring, saying it wasn't stolen, and then calling Travelers Insurance days later saying it was stolen on a recorded line, and then getting the $20-some thousand check. Also, I don't know if people know this, they did not get any of that other money. So they may be in trouble for all they got was the $20-some thousand for the ring. They didn't even get the $450,000 that they were trying to get.
So, I mean, I don't want to say all this for nothing, because
but
they say that if they'd gotten the money, would they have to do like restitution, I guess, and pay it back?
So that's my question. I would love an attorney or somebody to answer that, because my thought was they didn't get it, but will they have to pay restitution for if they find that they're guilty of staging a burglary, will they have to pay restitution for the county's time that they spent researching?
Resources and
that's resources. Because my thing was, listen, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but there may be people that would be like, listen, I will sit somewhere for 12 months for $500,000. I mean, teach a couple classes like Karen, get out and sit.
Show me the options. Where am I going to be sitting?
Yeah. Look, do I have a chance?
Where would I go?
Yes. But it's like, for them to be facing up to 15 years, which I do think 15 years is excessive but I guess that's but you did all of that and you only got the money. Then there was the prosecution saying that the items, they went to their home and they have receipts. Some of the items that they claim that was stolen, the Osefos had receipts dating back to 2010 for some of those items. And so some people were like, well, maybe they replaced some of the items. But the prosecution says they both signed sworn affidavits stating they didn't replace anything that was stolen. So the stuff they found was indeed the stuff that they had claimed was stolen.
So they reported things stolen that were never stolen.
A shirt, I don't know if it was a Gucci shirt.
You know that saying, kids see everything, notice everything, and feel everything? Well, let me tell you what, it's true. And I remember this because when my Uncle David suddenly had a stroke over 20 years ago, I could feel the stress my mom and all of her siblings were carrying because they didn't know how they were going to get him the care that he needed. But one thing was certain, our family was going to come together to make sure that he did get the best care possible. We just didn't know where that care was going to come from. That question led to years of challenges until we found QARE.com, and it truly helped us make sense of absolutely everything. We were able to find background-checked in-home caregivers, explore senior living options, and even connect with a senior care advisor, a master's level social worker who is provided to the family for 90 days of personalized guidance. I recently partnered with QARE.com to try their senior care advisor service myself, and what immediately stood out to me was how they helped build a plan that actually made sense for my family. They considered my parents' needs, local providers, and they even considered insurance, things that can all feel overwhelming when you're trying to make the right decision for someone that you love. What I appreciate the most is clarity. They gave us all the clarity that we needed during a time that otherwise felt incredibly uncertain. Instead of guessing like what to do next, we had real guidance and we had real support. That kind of direction can make all the difference in the world when someone you love needs care. So if you are facing senior care decisions, I truly recommend QARE.com. For a limited time, you can go to QARE.com and use code MyFriend for 20% off your initial subscription or a senior care advisor plan. That's MyFriend, all one word. With QARE.com, start your senior care journey with confidence. When it's not you, it's QARE.com.
Dolce & Gabbana, but it was a shirt, purses, and they went in and they seized. Yeah. So that's when we know that they're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, of course.
Then it's like you hear, but you're hearing this. Again, we see the email, which is interesting. Go back to the email of it all. And this is why I'm like, are they setting it up for Eddie to take the brunt of it? Because we never heard that Wendy responded to the email. Yeah. We didn't see a response. So does she get a lighter?
Did she call him and be like, don't be emailing this shit?
When you lay next to me every night in bed.
Good, now go ahead and throw that computer in the damn, like the pond outside and, erase cache cookies. I don't know.
Like something. Like,
fuck.
How do you send an email? And then
very clearly stating what the goal was too. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, like list it as more, get more, or he provide more details, something like that.
Yes.
He was basically insinuating do what you can to get the max payout.
To get the max payout for items that some of them are in our closet. And some of them, and remember, some of them were in their closet and some of them had already been returned to the store.
Yes, like they returned like fashion and clothing items.
Yes. But
then claimed it was stolen. Meanwhile, they'd already given it back to the store and got a refund.
So they have the receipt of purchase, and then
my Lord.
So when I tell you the prosecutors are not playing, I think that they want to make an example out of Wendy and Eddie, because we're all talking about, well, what about a plea? From nothing has been discussed in court. I don't know if it's been discussed amongst the attorneys, but I would like to think, I wonder if there's some type of plea. But then a lawyer called in to Kempire's show and said, if she was their lawyer, she would advise them to fight, because if they agree to a plea of committing fraud, you are saying I committed fraud, which could be detrimental to their future. Because think about it. In order to own a home, you got to have homeowners insurance. What if they get on some type of fraud list, or it could be triple the price? But then on the other hand, it's like, yeah, but if I go to court and lose, like either way, I could be guilty. So which one? Do you take the plea for lesser time, or do you try to fight? But they haven't talked about a plea. So the lawyer did say what she would advise is, if they were offered a plea, to try to get the charge changed.
Okay.
Versus it being fraud.
Okay.
And
remember, and then accept a plea if you got the charge changed?
Yeah. Like, because I'm wondering if is there any world in which they don't see any time?
I mean, I think there could maybe be a world where a technicality might save Wendy.
She tried that. Yeah.
I mean, that would be, I'm hoping her attorneys have some backup
yes.
technicalities,
Yes.
but I don't see any realm of possibility where you can have that many. Because it's the thing too, and this is what I think fucked them over, is that it was a lot of little moves they did that compiled into a lot of charges. Like it wasn't like one, like, you know, the house was one thing, but it was like you're catching felonies over a fucking wallet. You're catching felonies over, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm assuming every article and every item that they were able to prove was a lie is probably a different charge. I don't know how that works, you know, or maybe it's all the different insurance companies is all one charge. I don't know, but it feels like
I think you nailed it.
They just got caught up in this jumble of bullshit over like a little amount of effort, to be quite honest with you. Like, I feel like it was something they just did kind of quickly. And then it was like, they never, ever, ever thought that it could even translate into this many offenses. Like, I'm sure they thought there's possibility of getting in trouble, but never remotely anything of this. I mean, I remember when I first read the article, I was like 16.
And
like,
so
what?
I think those are the items, because how you said the items, if you go to, it's under like Maryland Judiciary Case Search and type in their names, when you see it, remember when the article came out that's like misleading information fraud plus 300. So people were thinking every item was 300, but it was in fact that every item was above, I guess, the threshold, I think. But like, I think Eddie has 17 of those. So I'm wondering if that's the shirt, if that's the this, if that's the that, because that's all you see going all
Whoever
the way down.
They
and
have
then
proof of calling in and filing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the last statement is misleading or giving the officer like misleading. I forget how it's worded, but yes, so that's that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of misleading, I wanted to ask you too, before we wrap up, what did you think watching Wendy on the reunion recount Cameron finding the burglarized room? Because look, you and I, we watch Housewives for years. There's times where I stand up laughing, I stand up crying. There's times where I like my asshole clenches because I'm so uncomfortable. That was this time. I was like, oh my God. Like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you, even if that is true, what are you doing?
And even if it's in the public. So I love Karen, the grand dame, I can say that, but also Karen pisses me off. And I do think Karen is, but we can recognize that in our Housewives, right? We can love them and be like, this is where Wendy pissed me off because I had to agree. I was mad at Karen, but then I also had to agree with Karen. My thing is, she should have pulled a Karen move. Think about last season with Karen. Giselle or one of them brought up the article. And and they were like, it's public information. And Karen says, well, you can read. That is what Wendy should have said instead of her laying out
public.
the story.
Why are we talking about it?
Why are we talking about it?
Printed there in black and white, baby. Go read it. You can even print you a little PDF out. You know what I'm saying?
Are they going to have your beautiful daughter in a room with the judge asking her what she remembers?
Could that possibly be a thing? I don't know.
Me neither.
How that works.
Because
that's what I fucking thought.
Put her square in the middle of it now. You put her square in the middle of it now. Then there's a part of me that's like, did she do that on purpose because Cam is a minor, so maybe she knows they won't question, but to act as if she's giving us something? Like with Wendy, it's kind of like, I don't know.
And even like, is the kid's recollection permissible in court? Like, I don't know. Because what if kids, they'll lie or just say something that they'll recall, not even intentionally lie. They'll recall something differently if they're not feeling well, if they're, they're having a bad day. Like, kids' emotions are, they're harder to regulate than an adult because they're figuring all that out. So I don't know I don't know. Are
they going to go back? Because I said I was going to go back and listen to Gibson's interview with her about the break-in, because I seem to remember her, and you guys let me know if I'm wrong.
Speaking of getting subpoenaed, Gibson's about to
Gibson, you might be in danger, girl.
Girl, get that court outfit ready. You gonna be like CNN? He's gonna be on the People's Court. He is ready. I love it. I love Gibson.
I thought she said it was their room. The burglars came in through their room. So I didn't hear, unless she didn't make it, or unless I missed it, I didn't hear her talk about any other area of her home being burglarized except for her room. So Cam says, I think they made a mess, and Eddie runs where? Like, where was the room? So to me, these are questions that I would be like, well, where was Cam? What room was Cam in when she said made a mess? Well, didn't you say the burglary occurred in your room?
What room were you in when you heard her say that?
Because from what I understand, just your room was tore up. I was like, if you were going to do this, why would you not hire somebody to do it for real? I mean, if you're going
to the TV up, take everything, I'd take the kids' clothes.
Wait, Christian, I told my mom, I said the kids would have had to miss some of these sneakers. We'll replace some.
Kids are sleeping on the floor. I'm taking the mattresses.
Come on,
I mean, if you're going to commit to it, baby, commit.
to it. Like the fact that there was like, I couldn't get over it. So when she brought Cam in, I was like, to answer Kiarna, just to prove to Kiarna that it went a year and you didn't hear anything, like that would be the least of my concern, trying to prove something to Kiarna. But when they asked her about the debt, I'm going to let the law do its job. Well, that's an easy question to answer, Wendy.
To be honest, I think that she probably knows she shouldn't have said that about Cameron, but she refuses to admit that Karen was right, or that she said that about Cameron. But then when Karen said, Wendy, shut the fuck up, and she's like, no, this is all public record, I don't even think that her defense of herself right there, I don't even know how true that is, because I think she was just trying to Karen was proving her wrong. And
right.
I think in that moment, she was like, no, it's fine. But it's like, girl, like what the... If they ain't asking you about your outfit or about what you're having for lunch that day, unfortunately, I cannot comment. And I'm here to collect the paycheck that I have earned anyway. Thank you very much.
And that's it. The most I would do is speak about my emotion around it. Yes, I'm scared. Yes. I don't know that she did a good job there. But when she started getting into the nitty gritty, I was like, Wendy, the prosecution is like this. And I'm going to be in court behind them like this.
I mean, I genuinely, my asshole is still clenched from it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
if you would see her, looking her in her face, they look scared. Like,
do they?
Even Eddie just looks like.
That's heartbreaking.
It was sad yesterday because let me tell you this is what's crazy too. Every time we've went, except for one time when it had stopped raining but was overcast, it has rained every single status hearing. And
God is crying. He is so disappointed.
He's like, no. And normally they show up in a black SUV, pulls them right in front of the court. They get out, have the umbrella, and then it picks them up. They didn't do that this time. So it was almost like poetic in a way where so they go into a conference room with their lawyer. We go outside. I got to get a park right in front of the courthouse. So then they're coming out with their lawyer. And we see no black SUV. We were like, I wonder where they're, and Eddie's holding the umbrella. If you look at the picture I posted, it's like Wendy could barely walk because Eddie's like holding her with the umbrella. Wendy does slither. Karen was actually correct. Wendy does have a slither. I said, come on, Wendy, with your slither. But the way that, of course, it's normal to walk from a courthouse, but the walk was so long. It was raining in the back, and it just seemed like this can't be how you go out. Again, I know everybody can be redeemed after, but I'm thinking, you got your chance. You wanted to be on the show. You had all these opportunities, Eddie and his business, and now it could end like this. Over $25,000 because that's all you got.
That's less than what you make an episode, I bet.
And it just seemed very poetic. And I said to Pamela, I said, this is sad. And she said, it is. And they were just like,
just feel that you probably felt the heaviness that they were feeling, I'm sure. Yeah.
And I feel for not just their kids, I feel for them too, because I can imagine people keep saying they should have thought about their kids. I get that. But I wonder in their minds, now, if they did it to try to keep up with the Joneses, then it's like, but I'm wondering, did they do it to try to pay some debt?
I mean, like we said earlier, there's something that happened in their lives clearly that caused them to think outside of the realm of, I think, even just responsibility that they normally would. And I think that, I don't know. And to me, it would more so resonate in a line that it was something like a desperate move or and something maybe kid focused. Like I don't know, not that they would do it for the kids, but
I know what you mean.
Yeah. And to me, and I hope that, quite honestly, like, if this does get to trial, we'll get to trial, and then the discovery continues to come out, that's where honesty is going to come to play and to resonate with that jury. Like, you just got to look, we fucked up. We fucked up. Like, we have a history of waking up every day and doing everything we can to be the best people we can be, the best parents we can be. It's quite literally documented. Yeah. And you can see in the very short period of time, it was a mistake, but it was a big one.
Yes.
And if you go back and look at the rest of our history and stuff, we are proven, individuals and couple and parents that do the right thing. And if we need to learn a lesson, help us learn it. But at the end of the day, we're not like lifelong criminals. We're not repeat offenders. We're not, you know what I'm saying? So we're not violent criminals. So it's like, just, what the fuck do I know? But I would just think, if it gets to that point, and I hope it doesn't, that they're basically out here begging the jury to have some decency on them.
Let me tell you,
I think honesty is the way to go. Just be like, it was an emotional, misstep.
Yes. And they are upstanding with a capital U, as Ashley said. I will say this, and I'm not, so me and again, the young lady that I was with, Chantel, we heard two different things. So we're not really sure, but we know something was said. As we were leaving out of the courtroom, they went out before us. The prosecution has the door open. The prosecutor is a woman. Wendy walks up to her. I thought Wendy said, and thank you, in that little voice. And the prosecution was very like kind of like was stoic, but like Chantel said, she thinks the prosecutor had a loss. And Wendy said, sorry for your loss. Either way, no matter what she said, the prosecutor was very much like, had holding the door like, okay, like no emotion was shown.
Like, you ain't getting any brownie points from me.
That's what, yes.
Like when you try to be nice to the teacher and they're like, fuck off.
Yes, because
okay.
I was shocked that I was wondering, of course, I'm sure they do talk. I've never seen it. So I was like, oh, I wonder what she's going up to her for. And yeah.
To be honest, I think that might have been an intentional thing on her part. And
Me too. That's why it stuck out to me, because it was like,
I think that could end up hurting you more than doing it, than just doing nothing, to be quite honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That shows you still think that you can get away with
Yeah.
some fake bullshit.
Yes,
You know?
yes,
You think
yes.
some fake bullshit, you pretending you give a shit about me, is going to make me give you a couple less days and potentially, no.
Because I'm telling you, they are going for them to be, for that prosecutor to say at the last one, they have very little money. It's like, they are gunning.
She's warning the attorneys, y'all better hurry up because the funds is running out.
Wrap it up, right? Wrap it up. And then there is a small part of me that wondered if they're positioning it so that she does lesser charges. We know that the cameras are about to film. Did she want to try to hurry up and get it wrapped up in March?
That's
and
what I was
then
gonna ask you.
They could be on camera only focusing on Eddie, so she could be back on the show making money, but focusing on Eddie. For her story.
I'm at home trying to keep things together, and which I mean, I don't want either of them to go to jail.
Me neither.
But it's like, I would rather something be set up that like it is a transitional, how the judge did with Teresa and Joe.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that both of them don't go, but I hope that there is some consideration and strategy around making sure that though they both fucked up, that we can do something that the kids don't necessarily have to feel any more than they've already fucking felt of this.
Yes, because they need their parents.
Yes. Well, I wanted to, this is the last question, as we, like you just said too, is filming will, be picking up in a couple of weeks. I'm sure they're already in the early stages of pre-production and doing contracts and all that stuff. You've been in there and you felt the vibes and the energy. You felt the poetic rain outside the courthouse. What do you, in your gut, what do you think is going to happen?
I think that at least one of them, if not both, are going to be made an example of. This is probably the biggest thing that has happened to Carroll County in quite a long time. And I'm just going to say it. I'll say this. There's people that have said, I feel like they were targeted because they were Black. I don't think that's the case. I feel like they were targeted because they were caught because they may have done something stupid.
Yeah.
But I will say them being Black is not going to help them. So I don't
Especially,
want,
like you said, the Carroll County of it all.
The Carroll County of it all. I hope that's not the case. I hope that they are able to find a jury of their peers. But in my gut, even if they were to take a plea, I feel like Carroll County is like, you used our resources. We have a safe community. We haven't had anything in 20 years.
And it's our chance to say we don't fuck around with stuff like this.
We don't play around with stuff like this at all. So I do believe, unless something shifts, because honestly, the only way I could see something happening is, the law is the law until this person knows this person who does this person a favor or does that person behind closed doors.
Yeah.
But the way the prosecution is coming with that evidence and wanting 10 years worth of bank records and combing through them and comparing.
So that means they do think there's a history of it then.
What they think is, no, they're trying to they said they're trying to create motive. So their personal records were fine to go through. They wanted access to their business records because when they looked at their personal bank records, they saw transfers from the business to the personal to the business. So they want to see if there's a tie-in. They don't see that there's any evidence of anything misleading, but because there's been a tie-in, they want to look at it and see, because they want to see if there is a motive for them to do this for money.
So they can prove a motive. Then
yes, and
they've got.
That's what they want to do, establish a motive.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I know. Do you ever just go on about your day and randomly you think of them and go,
Yes.
oh my God, same.
Like
I
when
feel like
Karen
they're
was in
family.
jail, I was like, what's Karen having for lunch today? My poor thing. Fuck. Yeah.
Let me tell you, I literally almost considered trying to get on the list. Karen, I'm right up the street. I could take you something, bring Ray something, what you need.
Period. Yeah. I'll drop and go, boo. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes,
girl,
because-
I remember the day Teresa reported to jail. I was in college. I skipped class. I was so depressed.
Were you in mourning?
I woke up that day. I said, I can't. I just did that. No, I remember I woke up. It was like, because I pulled out my phone and there was a tweet from TMZ where she was spotted eating a fucking egg and like a ham and egg biscuit on the way to jail with her and her attorney. And I rolled right, I said, no, I rolled right back over. I said, she looked so sad. And her last meal before going in was a fucking egg biscuit. Like, get the girl some gravy and biscuits or something.
Not even homemade. Well, you know what I wonder? I know we're wrapping up, but so I want to set this scene for you and think about if you're Wendy and Eddie. So we were in a different courtroom. It was downstairs and it was huge. It was updated. It was modern. And there were TVs around the courtroom. We had to sit through 3 bail reviews. People in jail. We got to sit through that. We're looking at people in jail. We see the guard behind them. They're in their orange and they're talking to the judge about a bail review. And all I could think of was, I wonder if Eddie and Wendy are looking at these people saying, they are where I could potentially end up. We're watching them walk in.
That might be my friend in a few months.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's what, I mean, that to me was like, because when they came on, and the screens are big, so when they, like big television screens, so you're like, and they're in their orange jumpsuits and they're awaiting a bail review. But the difference with Eddie and Wendy is they wouldn't be awaiting bail reviews. They would be in there.
Yeah.
And then you see the guard behind them. And I just thought like, man, I don't want them to go to jail. Yes. But it was so surreal seeing those white walls and seeing them there, like,
and if
I know
it's
it was
for you, imagine how they must feel.
They must feel. And I was like, I know that's not the cell, but their liberties, like Karen said, they don't have their liberties. You got somebody standing behind you. You're talking into, like, it was.
You can't even go pissed when you want to, hardly,
Boom. Yeah.
Lord God have mercy. Well, honey, thank you so much for joining me, and everybody listening. If y'all want to follow the person who is going to put CNN out of business with her hard-hitting journalism, y'all better go on over to the What Else Is Going On podcast and just tell everybody where they can find you really quick, and tell everybody about your show.
First of all, I want to thank you so much for having me. You know that I absolutely love you. You know that.
I love you too.
I am so bad about checking. Well, I'm not bad about checking my DMs. I'll check them, but then like when you're out working and doing stuff. And when I saw Christians, I was like, let me pull over and respond to this. Yes. When you need me, when you want me, I'm there. But so with my podcast, you can find it wherever it is you listen to podcasts. It is named in honor of the Cynthia Bailey, because whenever Cynthia was sitting in a confessional or with the girls and they got to arguing and Cynthia would almost get caught up like in the mess, she would go, what else is going on?
What else is going on?
So it's named after her.
Cheekbones forever, baby. Yes.
Cynthia Bailey cheekbones. So you can find that wherever it is you listen to your podcast. I am on YouTube and it's WEIGO, WEIGO podcast. That stands for What Else Is Going On. You can find me on YouTube where I do reviews about the Housewives shows, do interviews, also talk about pop culture, things that are going on in the world. I'm trying to be CNN all over the place, baby. And then you can find me on Twitter. I still say Twitter, I know. Twitter,
Me too.
Threads.
And I will till the day I die.
Same.
Yeah.
WEIGO Podcast, where I post updates about all of the things that are going on.
So buckle up, everybody, because like you said, look, it's heavy sometimes, but you know what? This is the world we signed up for. When we watch these people, we give them our energy, we feel the weight of their problems, and we celebrate the good in their lives too. That's the point of reality TV. But we're us viewers, we're along for the fucking ride no matter what, even if it takes us to a rainy courthouse. Ain't that right?
Yes.
I love it. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for listening, and as always, we'll see you right back here next time on My Friend, My Soulmate, My Podcast. Besos. Woo!